What's up, DIY Queens? It's your design bestie, Cara Newhart, and this is Make Space.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Make Space. And things totally look different around here. If you haven't noticed, I DIY'd this whole studio and I'm very excited about it. And we are relaunching. There is now video, there is new, crazy, amazing guests. And I'm beyond excited to be back and better than ever. So today I'm sitting down with a really incredible human. I actually met Nick in New York City at the Better Homes and Gardens Style Maker event. He was on a panel and shared his story, and then I met him at lunch and he was carrying around his own silverware because he loves the environment and he's dedicated to making small changes to make it better. His work is really, really cool, especially really for anyone that's ever killed a plant is what I would say. But he's doing really, really big things, wrote the coolest book, and I'm beyond honored to be able to have him on the show today. So a little bit about Nick. He's a plantrepreneur who is passionate about all things green. As a full-time plant coach, urban gardener, and award-winning landscape designer, Nick is on a mission to leave the earth greener than he found it, giving people the knowledge and confidence they need to create their own green spaces in the pursuit of environmental action and social justice. Nick has more than 150 clients in New York City and LA and has been featured in the New York Times, Vogue, Architectural Digest, Food Network, and Business Insider. He can be seen on the Netflix original series The Big Flower Fight and as a host on Netflix Instant Dream Home. He is also the author of Plant Coach, The Beginner's Guide to Caring for Plants and the Planet. I'm so excited to be able to bring you this conversation with Nick today, so let's get into it. Today, I have Nick Cutsumpas here, and he is, I think you could say, a plant person. Would you say?
I think it's safe to say I like plantrepreneur. That's my favorite term.
Okay, I like that. I like that better. So I guess we should just start by telling the story of how you fell in love with plants.
It
might be a long one, but
no, it's not too long. This was
okay.
Back in 2014. I had just graduated from college at Tufts University, and I was set to live a very corporate life in New York City. My family lives in Westchester, right above New York, and my mom said, "Okay, listen, if you're going to be living at home here rent free, you got to do something around the house." I was like, all right, what do you want me to do? And she said, you love food, you love cooking, you love being outside. Why don't you start a garden? And we had never had plants in the home. My parents were not plant people.
Right.
But I went outside, threw a couple seedlings in the ground, and from the time I tasted the literal fruits of my labor, I was obsessed. I just could not get enough. And it was from that point where each season the garden would get more robust and this, and that. And then all of a sudden I moved to New York City 3 years later and I had no plants. I had no garden. So I did the only thing that made sense and I bought 100 houseplants. So in a 600 square foot apartment, it's very small in New York City, but I needed something to connect me back, something that made me feel in touch with nature. And without that garden, I resorted to houseplants, and that's about the time the Instagram started and things kind of snowballed from there.
Right. That's so funny that your mom pushed you in that direction. Having not had plants really herself, do you think she had any inkling that this was like your calling?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This was just a random suggestion. And it's not like she had, this idea like, oh, maybe he's going to be in this. No, like we had just lost a tree during Hurricane Sandy in the backyard. So there was this extra spot with no grass. And she was tired of looking at it. And she was like, why don't you do something there?
Get out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay. So moving to New York, were you on a trajectory through college to do corporate? And never second guessed that at first. You're just moving to New York, living the dream. And then
living the corporate American dream right there.
Right. Which I lived to for a while in oil and gas finance. It did not last very long though.
No, it's good. I'm glad it didn't. And it was at that point where I realized, I was like, okay, like I could keep doing this and this is fine, but is it what lights my fire? Is it what gets me going and makes me want to wake up every morning inspired? And the answer was no. And being able to prototype some of these plant experiences was really important. And what I mean by that is I didn't quit my job without knowing that there was something there. I had started the Instagram. I had started building a following. I had started taking on clients, both for indoor and outdoor plant installations in New York City and beyond.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I think I could make this work. But taking that jump, as you know, is the scary part, right? Telling your family at Thanksgiving, hey, I quit my 6-figure, great benefits, great on paper job to go roll around in the dirt. That is a challenging conversation and something that is not always received positively, depending on who you're talking to. So I'm glad I did it, but man, it takes a lot to walk away. And I encourage everyone listening at some point to start something. And even if you're not leaving your job to do it, prototyping those experiences was so valuable.
Right. And especially I think as something like a plantrepreneur where there's not a charted path. Like what you're doing is very, very, like you're inventing the way along the way as you help people reconnect with nature. You know, it's something that we've been out of touch with. And so I think that path is like something you have to literally invent yourself. So that conversation's hard for family for sure. But also, I think just taking that leap and, not knowing what it's going to look like. So along the way, how did the coaching begin? So you're doing this for yourself, you're inviting nature into your space, kind of realizing you can't live in a box in a city and find happiness. How did that turn into you helping other people with that?
So, funny story. I had a friend who was hosting an event, just a random dinner for some, thing in New York City. And she said, "You're good with photography. Why don't you show up and pretend to be my photographer, because I don't want to pay a photographer to come here." I was like, all right, sure. Like grab my camera, show up. And I started talking to some of the people there. And this one woman said, do you do photography in the city all the time? I said, no, actually, I'm not really a photographer. I take pictures of my plants. And she's like, excuse me, you take pictures of your plants? And I showed her my Instagram. And she looks at me and she's like, how many clients do you have? And I paused and I was like, well, I'm just booked out for the rest of the next 2 months, but maybe I could fit you in there. And she's like, well, how does it work? And I said, well, I'll take the client, you, plant shopping. We will review and assess your space to learn what plants will thrive. And then we'll come back, we'll design it, we'll pot them up, and we'll go over care tips. She said, great, how much? And that was my first client.
That's
literally
amazing.
someone else asking me.
Yeah, asking you. So is this premeditated? Like you had an inkling in the back of your mind, like,
no.
Oh, I could do this. It's just like somebody asked and you're like, this is what I should be doing and here's how it works, kind of thing.
I had no idea. I had no concept. I was just like, I like this. This is fun. I had helped some other friends of mine do it, right? So it was never like, oh, I want to be this. It was just being open and saying yes. And that's one of those kind of life lessons. And it's very much inspired by improv. It's like someone says something, you go in a direction.
Respond.
Yes, and, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and here's how I can do this. And it ended up working out really well. And, from there you get a little bit of press and all of a sudden people start reaching out and wanting to do more. And now we've got, I think like over the past 3-4 years, we've worked with well over 150 clients between New York City and LA.
That's amazing. I think the beauty of looking at your work and watching your process through like a social media lens is it's not prescriptive. It's not, here's your list of plants, here's where to put them. It's very like collaborative, and you're kind of bringing people into the process and showing them that like maybe you're not connected with nature because you haven't like nurtured that, and it's not necessarily like you're born with the green thumb or without it, but what kinds of like, I guess, breakthroughs or I don't know, any cool stories you've had in like helping people with that realization?
So I had this one client. She was a famous fashion influencer in New York City, and she will remain nameless for the sake of this talk. But she said, can you take me plant shopping? Sure.
Right.
Show up, I'm dressed in my t-shirt and jeans, and she shows up. She's got the outfit, she's got the makeup, she's got the hair, and she even brought a professional photographer.
I
But
love it.
she was like a kid in the candy store and was really into it. So we load the plants into the taxi, and I get in the back seat and I look over, and she's got a plant on her lap, and she's cradling it and talking to it lovingly.
Yeah.
And then she puts her face in the soil, literally puts her nose, full face of makeup, into the soil, breathes it all in, looks me in the eye, and says, I can't remember the last time I touched the earth.
Wow. Wow.
So here you have this beautiful woman living a luxurious lifestyle, seemingly fulfilled in every way, putting her face in a plant because she'd been deprived of nature for so long.
Wow.
If that doesn't inspire you to keep doing what you're doing, I don't know what will. And in cities like New York especially, you may be walking on cement, wood, linoleum, marble, very little grass, very little connection to the dirt, if any at all.
Right.
So that is an extra motivating factor for me to be able to bring green to these cities and to people's lives and establish that connection in any way possible.
Right. That's so interesting. And I think it's also so interesting with plants, like they grow at their own pace, which is the pace of nature. And so in a world where things are coming at you fast, very overwhelming, very all over the place, like there's so many directions you could be pulled in. I think plants are such an interesting outlet because it has a pace that reconnects you with the natural pace of things.
Yeah, or lack thereof of pace, right? You know, everything is so instant gratification based in today's society. And plants are like, listen, you could do all you want. I'm going at my pace, and you have to respect my process. So for me, that has taught me so much patience. I'm not a patient person.
Me neither.
I've never been a patient person.
Yeah.
But plants for me, they slow me down. It's the only way that I can really relax and do what I need to do. And it's a good meditation practice for me because I'm not the person that can sit down and just, do the traditional form of meditation. But I can be out in my garden for hours.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important because it's like that mindfulness. I think there's an active version and a passive version of that. And I think so many times when you hear that, you think of like sitting in silence, which to me is so boring. Like, no way.
Oh, I can't do it. No way.
I need to be moving. Yeah. Yeah.
No chance. But
so
it's a good thing for me, and I've seen it with others who are also living this kind of fast-paced lifestyle.
Right, where it feels weird to like slow down and shut it off, but to change directions and have an outlet is so good. Okay, so you wrote a book. I think we should dive into that process a little bit because it's amazing. I have it here. I just got it. I was very late to the party. I know it came out
all good
in October. But what was that process like? Was it lengthy and fun?
It's lengthy for anyone who's never written a book. It takes time. You have to kind of carve out very specific writing times to be able to say, this is my deadline. This is how many words I have to write today to hit the goal.
Right.
And 45,000 words later, you have a product that is not just something that people can read, but something that is your manifesto, right? This is your POV on the world. And I think it's a beautiful way to express yourself and get your ideas more formalized and really establish what your perspective is. But man, it takes a while. It takes a while.
Yeah, but I think it's so cool, your book specifically, because it makes everything so approachable. Like picking up that book, you're like, oh, not only do I have a guide to help me through it, but that plants are something I need coaching around, that plants are not something I'm immediately good at or I can just go and buy. So yeah, I think you did a really good job in that aspect. But one of my favorite things is that you talk about trial and error with plants. And I think for people stepping in, it's like, okay, I brought a plant home and I killed it and I must be bad at plants. So like, how do we allow ourselves space to make mistakes and maybe kill a couple plants while not, I don't know, still respecting nature and not, killing
Yeah,
all of them.
you know, I hate to say the word kill, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's really more plant slaughter, right? It's
Right.
not, we're I'm intending to kill this plant, right?
Right.
It's very much accidental sometimes. And
Right.
sometimes it's more negligence where it's like you don't realize what is necessary to take care of those plants. But plants die. Plants die in nature.
Yeah.
I still kill
Right.
plants. And more so because of my travel schedule at this point. But
Right.
it's, making my roommates take care of 100 plants when I'm gone for 3 weeks is always an adventure when you come back.
Right. Do you have to bribe them? I feel like I would have to bribe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
We take them out to lots of dinners, right? But I think the key is learning to view your home as a living, breathing ecosystem.
Okay.
Plants are nature, not furniture. We are wanting to understand how we play a role in their success. We are not the, sole reason they are successful. We are just conduits. We are stewards. And I think if we take that approach, it will be easier for us to take care of plants because it's less work. I have a whole chapter in the book called Mindful Neglect. And that is all about how we can take a step back, observe first before acting, and be proactive in the ways that we care for our plants without necessarily being a helicopter plant parent and doing the most, because sometimes the most is too much.
Right. Right, which is so funny. I don't know if you've seen the meme that's like the house plant is like struggling and then you zoom out the window and it's like the plant growing in like the concrete crack, like thriving.
Truly.
It's like sometimes
Yep.
you just got to not touch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let nature do its thing.
Right. Okay, so procuring a new plant. Would you say that you should do research first, or you're at the store, you find something beautiful, we can take it home and experiment?
I do love experimentation.
Yeah.
I do think the research has to start earlier before you get to the shop. Otherwise, you end up with plant goggles and you're like, oh my God, there it is. Tunnel vision, pretty. This is the one. You got to know a little bit ahead of time. And you have to really just start with that space assessment and know what your plant is capable, or your space is capable of, in terms of making sure the plants can thrive there. There's a part in the book where I talk about doing this like green print, which is where you are assessing the lighting, the humidity, the temperature sources and drafts, the furniture in your home, the other creatures in your home, be it pets or other humans. All these factors influence what's happening in your environment. And knowing that really well will help you understand what plants will thrive. And if you pick the right plant for the right space, you'll have to do very little. Now, sometimes these factors extend beyond the home, where I literally had a client who told me she bought a plant for her south-facing window, which is the best, most direct light. Right. And she bought a plant for that in, I believe it was December. And she called me, and this was in, I think late April, and said, my plant's dying. What's happening? Yeah. And she sent me a picture, and the window hadn't moved, obviously, still south-facing. But the oak tree in front of her apartment that was blocking the window, what happens in spring, all the leaves came out, and all of a sudden that south-facing window wasn't so bright anymore. So sometimes you have to be aware of factors even outside of your environment that can influence what plants you can have indoors.
Yeah, I love that concept of like what'd you call it, a green print?
Green print.
Green print. That's fascinating because I think so many times we aren't that thoughtful about our spaces, which is, the whole goal of this show is to try to get everyone to be more thoughtful, more strategic. And we talk about like function and, laying out like, what am I actually doing here? But that's your basis. And then you can build on it with all the different elements like greenery and your furniture and every single thing you're doing. So I love that.
Absolutely. And the work that you do especially, I view that as the hardscape. That is just the interior hardscape, right? You are building the ecosystem, and then you're adding the plantscape. So I think it's a beautiful way of viewing the home as an ecosystem and viewing everything that you would do outside. You're just applying the same principles inside.
Yeah, I love that so much. And the other thing I love is that it builds. Like you kind of start with one, And I think plants just happen to you, or I mean, they grow on you, not to use a horrible pun, but they do. It's like you get one
They
and
do.
then another and then another, and then soon you have a whole jungle.
Yes. Soon you need a machete to get through your apartment.
Right. I love that. So your approach to design in terms of like aesthetic and visuals. So we're laying out that greenscape and we know exactly like what kinds of plants are going to work. And then how do you create kind of like a visual or like the beauty of it in the design?
From a design perspective, it really depends, right? If you're outdoors, which we're not going to talk about because it does depend on your region. Every region has a specific aesthetic because you need to work with the current climate conditions that you have. Sometimes people don't do that, which is irresponsible from a climate perspective, but from an indoor perspective, you have a little bit more control. And my aesthetic is leaning more towards lush, bright greenery. I love texture on planters. I don't like anything shiny or kind of porcelain looking. I think the natural stone features are very nice, especially bringing them into a home that has a more neutral color palette. There are some more modern clients I have that will want the bright colors, planters, and they want, different things from plants that I would bring into the space. But my aesthetic is probably, it's not maximalist by any means. I'm not going to have a full-on jungle. Even though I have 100 plants, they're pretty spaced out. And a few plants are left to their own kind of spaces to literally just shine and be the art piece. Instead of art, I'm putting plants on the wall. So I want it to be a little bit more minimal in that way. And I also really love getting creative with how you can suspend plants or let plants trail and cascade over certain environments. That's really important to me because getting vertical in small spaces, if it's an apartment in New York City or LA, is critical because you only have so much floor space.
Right. I love trailing plants. I think they're so pretty. And it's so pretty to see them like evolve over time. It's like potted plants can get new leaves, but to see it like actually like grow up a wall or trail down is like so satisfying.
I mean, our simple pothos that most people have, if anyone's ever been to Florida and they see the pothos there growing outside, they look almost like Monstera because they're so big and the leaves start fenestrating and breaking in the leaves. Many people confuse them for Monstera. So when you allow the plant to reach that maturity, the leaf shape and design changes, which is just amazing. Funny story, actually. In my bathroom, I didn't have when I moved in a curtain rod to put up curtains in the bathroom for privacy, which you do need.
You like that, yeah?
Yeah, we like that.
Right.
And I was like, I could install a curtain rod, or I could just hang cascading plants from it instead.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, and just
I love that.
Two big cascading plants, and now no one can see inside.
Right, dual purpose. Like I love it so much.
Exactly. Functionality is key.
Right. Is first. But I love that. I love like looking at plants in nature. It's so fascinating to see like how different they are. I remember I looked up like a Monstera in nature, like climbing up a tree in the jungle.
Oh yeah.
Huge leaves. It's
huge.
It's so fascinating. But it's like when we bring them inside, they change so much. And then do you think care changes? I mean, obviously a little bit, but like what can the natural environment of the plant tell us about like what it needs in our house?
That's a phenomenal question. And I think answering that question helps us recognize that there's no such thing as a house plant. They're just plants that are better suited for indoors than others. Right. And you look at a Monstera and see how it grows, the growth pattern. It's usually in more tropical climates. It's climbing from the understory up trees and clinging to trees as it grows with its aerial roots. Those are really cool adaptations that will infer how you can care for your Monstera indoors. For example, if you want that Monstera to climb, add a big moss pole so it can hook its aerial roots there and have it start climbing up. If you realize that it's coming from the understory, you know that it doesn't need as much light as some of the other plants might.
Right.
And using the natural growth patterns and seeing what kind of climates it's used to growing in is key and will help infer how you can take care of it in the indoor environment.
Yeah, it's so cool. But yeah, I feel like plants, it's like they're like dogs, like we just domesticated nature. And so houseplants is the same concept.
Almost, right?
Right.
And I think the tricky part is when your plant is hungry, it's not going to be able to bark
Right.
and tell you what it needs. So you have to be a little bit more proactive and observant. And I think that's the key,
Right.
because there is a phenomenon known as plant blindness, where
Okay.
we'll walk through our environment and not notice plants. And I know I go everywhere I go, I can't help but notice now, right?
Right.
But
Right.
you almost have to take this shield away from your eyes and start noticing, oh, I pass by this beautiful, weeping cherry tree every day I go to work. How often do I notice that?
Yeah.
And once you start taking off the blinders and seeing plants differently, then you start building empathy. And that's the key. How can I experience plants, get excited about plants, and then use that excitement to realize, wait, if I'm excited about this and the plants that I'm growing, shouldn't I be more conscious and care about the plants that are all around me? And that's where I say that plants are stepping stones towards environmentalism. You just need to see it. You need to touch it. You need to experience it in order to grow a desire to protect them. I think that is critical.
It's really cool. It like fosters a sense of connectedness with nature, and then you can't go back once you feel connected and like a steward of it.
Once you're there, it's over. You're
over.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a good point. I know you're really passionate about the environment and sustainability, and I think to some people that seems like a big, overwhelming issue. And I think I noticed just in meeting you in real life, you're really good about doing little small things that make an impact and are meaningful. And so for someone that feels maybe overwhelmed or hasn't really gotten on, board with what changes they can make, what are some small things that I guess you like to do in your everyday life that are more friendly?
There's a few different things that I do from an eco standpoint.
Yeah.
Number one, I thrift all my clothes. Love thrifting, super easy to do, and cheaper in many ways than going out and buying the new thing every single time. Secondly, I eat a plant-based diet. That certainly is a benefit to the environment from a water and land usage perspective. And then there's like these very, very little things, because going plant-based is hard. That's a bigger one.
Right.
But showing up with your reusable water bottle and silverware everywhere I go. When I food shop, bringing my produce bags so that I don't need to use the plastic. All of those little things add up, and they make a difference. And sometimes it takes just having a plant on your desk. I literally have, I know I don't have my full stock of plants, but sometimes it just takes a little plant like this.
So cute.
It's a little time. It's so cute.
It's adorable.
It smells great too. But just having this will inspire those eco behaviors. Because I'll be honest, I didn't care about the environment.
Right.
I didn't care about any of this stuff before plants came into my life. So all of this changed because I started recognizing and acknowledging plants in my environment and started to care for them in a different way.
Yeah. And just it being a slow process of like doing one little thing and making it a habit, and then it's just the way you live instead of it feeling like a big shift you have to make.
Yeah. If you feel like you need to change the world all at once, you're going to fail. There's no way you're going to be successful. But if I can say, hey, I'm going to grow something today. I'm going to throw a seed in the ground and see what happens. That's a lot easier than changing your whole landscape overnight.
Right. I love it. Well, I love this because it's like springtime is usually when people turn their attention to plants. So I'm excited for this episode to help people reconnect with that. I think almost natural desire to be like, oh, nature, let's get outside or let's bring it inside. What's your favorite starter plant? If it's like you are going to buy one and you probably think you suck at plants.
No one sucks at plants.
Right.
We can all be better. I would say there's kind of like a 3-pack starter pack that I like.
Okay. I like it.
Number one is going to be, I classify them as like the leave me alone plants. So your snake plant and your ZZ plant. If you travel, they're great. You water them once a month, maybe, and they're fine. Great option. The second category, I would say, like you're, a little bit more exciting, but also very easy plants.
Right.
So I love that for a monstera or a Dieffenbachia. Beautiful plants, kind of different color patterns and leaf shape. Very, very beautiful. And then if you're, starting to, progress a little bit, you want to try something a little bit more challenging. I do like having a fiddle leaf fig in the apartment just because, I know they have a bad reputation. They're very fickle, but honestly, if you just pick the right spot for it, that's very sunny and just kind of leave it alone, it's the definition of that mindful neglect plant, because I do very little for my fiddle leaf fig. Very little. And it's
so
fine.
I probably overloved mine then when I tried.
Usually it's an overloving situation. They don't like to be moved even from place to place.
Right.
So if you do feel like you've progressed from those first couple and you want to start getting a little crazy, fiddle leaf figs are great. Calatheas are very challenging for anyone out there who wants more of a challenge. They like filtered water. They like indirect light and consistent moisture. Very picky. I would never recommend that anyone get a palm. Palms are the worst.
I've killed everyone that I have.
I've had moderate success with palms, but not long-term success.
Right.
And they're just not great in the indoor environment. So.
Okay, this is a good question.
Yes.
Palms you think of as like a southern, like palm trees and kind of like higher heat. I don't know, more southern, I guess. It's not a technical term, but if I'm bringing that into a home like in the north, like I'm in New Jersey or New York, is that going to like not have as much success, or does it not matter because you're inside?
It still matters a little bit because you're dealing with seasons.
Right.
And the fluctuations in your seasons are different in New York, New Jersey versus if I'm in Los Angeles. So
right.
You're dealing with less light. You're dealing with heaters that come out and dry your space in the wintertime.
Right.
And sometimes the humidity levels are very different depending on where you are. If you're in Georgia, Georgia is plenty humid.
Right.
You can even bring your palms outside in Georgia and they'll be fine out there, So it does matter, even in the indoor environment, what space you have. And sometimes, depending on what building and how old your house might be, you might get cold drafts that sneak in the wintertime. And all it takes is a little bit of exposure, and all of a sudden that plant is struggling. So it does fluctuate. I'd say for anyone who does want a palm, buy a small one, test it out, see what works, see what doesn't, and then go from there. But there's a lot of intricacies that you'll learn just through that trial and error, which is so important.
Yeah. Okay. So I like this. So we have to know number one, what our lifestyle is and what we have capacity to care for. Number two, what our space can house. And then number three, our larger environment, like what it can support.
Absolutely.
So I guess mostly we're probably just missing one or two of those things when we try to care for a plant and don't have success. At least I was like over loving them and buying them really based off like trends. Like, oh, this is fiddle leaf figs are trending, or olive trees are trending. Like I'll put it in my house so it looks good. But like genuinely treating plants as props because no one really educated me that, the level of intentionality, I think. And so that's freeing when you're like, oh, I'm not bad at this. I just didn't know what I was doing. And so I really messed it up.
Yeah. I mean, like any task or any hobby, you have to suck at something first.
Right.
You
will suck first.
And you will suck. Right. Don't ask me to build a deck. I can't build a deck like you can build a deck. But I will watch your videos to learn how. Right. And you have to suck at something before you can get great at it. And I'm a much better plant parent than I was back then. And there are instances where you will have natural instincts. Like you will learn. Right. You'll pick up on things and you're like, oh, like I was doing that right. Like I felt good about that. And then it becomes second nature at this point.
I love that. So you were on a little show called Instant Dream Home. And I feel like we have to unpack this a little bit where if people haven't watched, you go in and is it 12 hours that you have?
12 hours, one day.
12 hours to redo an entire house. and you were in charge of the plant life, indoors and out. So, can you just tell us, I guess, like an overview of your experience just in what it was like to do that process?
Oh man, I just talking about it is raising my heart rate.
Yeah,
because it's just the stress levels were so
stressful.
high. Also, fun fact, this found out last week. We are now Emmy nominated, which is very exciting.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yes,
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We have, I think, 3 or 4 Emmy nominations, but we are best host for Danielle, and also we're best in our category. So fingers crossed that works out.
Yeah.
But yes, Instant Dream Home was wild. Finding these deserving families was just the best part, and getting to interact with them. But man, they don't see what goes into it, because when you're bringing 215 people to a job site, I mean, you've worked on job sites. What is it? Tops 10, 12?
Yeah. And even then you might be running into each other. So the
Exactly.
logistics are wild.
Challenging.
Yeah.
So really, the beauty of Instant Dream Home is not in the work that is done, but the logistics and planning to make it happen. Because if there is anything that's off, if it takes longer for something to happen indoors, and because they're bringing in furniture or other building material, and I can't do the stuff outdoors because that entryway is blocked, it's just, you pull one string and everything falls apart.
Right.
So being able to navigate that was really challenging, especially doing the exterior stuff, because they're like, Nick, we need to be in the house first. You got to wait.
Yeah. And everyone's marching through the yard.
Exactly. You can't plant everything. We're going to destroy the yard, right? So many episodes that you probably saw in the beginning, I was inside helping out with stuff, because all my plants are there. I just got to wait. I got to wait and just hope that they finish on time so that I can do my thing. But it was a blast getting to work with Danielle, Paige, Eric, who I know you know, and Adair.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Oh, it looked like so much fun. All the behind the scenes was like so fun to catch up on. It seems like it rained every episode almost. There was lots of rain.
Oh my god. There's that one episode, I think it was episode 4, where we had this whole plan for the front yard and this and that, and then it just started pouring. And we're trying to build a patio. And you've done this, right? Oh, yeah. You're laying your stone dust. And you can't do it if you're in a puddle.
You literally can't. Yeah.
You can't do it. So we erected this like makeshift tarp tent and are just trying to get it down and get it flat and compressed before we can bring in our pavers. It was a thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I bet. Well, it's also interesting because I think design, like good design, is so custom and personalized. So did you get like FaceTime with the families to be able to like work out what plants would work for them, or no?
No. So what we do is and this is the kind of sneaky stuff that producers do. They tell the families, "Oh, you're in consideration for something." Right. And like that's how they can get kind of the
info.
The info and the preferences, colors that they like, things like that. And it also gives us an opportunity to also grab measurements and get the permitting done. Because we had so many people commenting like, it's impossible. You need to get the permits and this, that. We did that already.
Right.
We did that all behind the scenes.
All happened the right way. Yeah.
We were there 3 months in advance because we needed to get all this stuff done and tested out and planned. So to then go in with all that planning in one day is just chaos. And tempers got high at times. It wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. Yeah. But it was really fun to see something happen that quickly, whereas most projects will take days or weeks or months.
Yeah, I think it was really impactful to watch the episode and see, like, I don't think there's ever that level of, I don't know, all hands on deck, of resources, of time, dedication, like in that short of a time span. And so that alone made these transformations just like wild to watch, like so much intentionality, so many people showing up to help. And the spaces that like worked out, it's like shocking. Like, I mean, I guess working in projects, you're like, how? Like, because something always goes wrong without a doubt. And so to be able to move through that is
Totally.
impressive.
And honestly, I wish they showed more of what went wrong.
Right.
Like there was only so much time in a 40-minute segment to show
Right.
everything. And they show what we mess up and things that go wrong, but there's even more things that go wrong that didn't make the final cut. So,
Right.
you look at some of those and you're like, man, like if people knew how many times I tried to do this before I found a solution,
Right.
you earn a lot of respect also for the workers there that we worked with. The teams that we had on the construction and landscaping side were absolutely phenomenal. I worked very closely with a guy named Mario from Surfscape down in Atlanta who was just fantastic. And they go through it, and if I say, listen, this can't happen, and you need to grab the whole team and shift focus, you gotta adapt and be flexible. And that's the beauty of having so many hands on the ground, or boots on the ground rather. Hands on the ground. My hands are often in the ground,
Either.
but
You're right.
either. But being able to say, give me 25 guys and let's move these 12 trees in 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Like
a
where
great
else
thing.
in your life do you get to
Yes.
have that level of manpower that quickly?
If I can ask Eric to bring in an excavator and dig holes for trees instead of having us do it with shovels, I mean, that's a dream.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So is there any challenge, because things are happening so fast and plants are a slower process. So what are the challenges in, like, I don't know, getting everything in there in a way that's going to be sustainable, where everything's going to survive? Like, thrive.
And that's just an inherent challenge of planting in the summer anyway. I tell my clients all the time, you don't want to plant in the summertime. You want to plant in early spring, and you want to plant, honestly, especially for trees, the fall. Fall is a great time because the tree is not worried about growth. It's not worried about flowering or anything like that, or even fruiting. And it gives them a chance to just settle in, relax, focus on root development, and come back next spring.
Like, I live
The show
here now.
we're planting in the middle of August in Atlanta. It was hot. So we had to take extra care to make sure everything was really well watered in. And the families all get a big packet, which explains all the new appliances, all of the plants, all this, all that. And one of the differences between our show and many other shows is that the families keep everything. Like, those homes are not staged. Some of the other design shows, it's like, they renovate the home and they put the furniture in for staging. They don't keep that.
Right.
They keep everything on our show, which is a great thing. It's a great thing. So it was, I couldn't imagine the size of these packets. The families
It's like a whole textbook on your house.
Yes. And what's nice, though, is that being in Atlanta, too, it rains so much that they're not going to have to worry so much about the watering and the irrigation system. Like, that takes care of itself for the most part, which is nice. But it's a lot of information at once.
Yeah. But cool. It's cool they're supported in that way, that it's not just like, here you go, like, here's all these plants and no way to know how to take care of them. So that's great that there's support. What did that show teach you about, like, your own process and your own clients, aside from how to work on a crazy timeline?
Honestly, it kind of ruined me. It ruined me because two things happened. Number one, I had clients say, "Oh, you could do this in a day, right?"
Yeah.
I was like, "No, no, you can't."
No.
And then I also had my own expectations for what can get done in a day shifted. And I'm like, really, if we pushed it, I'm like, no, I need to keep my team sane. I need to keep us on track. And, from a design standpoint, how can we do this in a sustainable way as quickly as possible, but also still respecting the plant process, like you mentioned, right? Just because we can do it in a day doesn't mean we should do it in a day.
I feel like you definitely push the limits of, like, TV versus reality, like, within your own experience. You've both ends of the spectrum of, like, immediate and slow.
Big time.
Interesting.
Big time.
Yeah. So I want everyone to be able to connect with you besides buying your book, which I will link in the show notes, and everyone needs it. If you've ever killed a plant, you need this book. We'll just say that. But where's the best place to stay in the loop with you?
You can find me at Farmer Nick on Instagram. FarmerNick.com is the website where it has some of the more landscaping focused work and the client portfolios and whatnot. But yeah, if you have a question, just send me a DM, send me a picture of your plant. I am happy to help.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want us to know, or any final words of wisdom?
I would just say that if you were at all hesitant about this process, you just have to get your hands dirty. You will not understand a plant until you've worked with it, until you've teased its roots, until you've felt its foliage, right? You have to be able to do that. And the only way to do that is just to plant the seed, get going, and start today.
I love it. So get out there and get dirty is what everyone should do.
Yes, get
especially
dirty.
now. Well, thank you so much for your time. I had the best time talking to you, and I feel like there's so many amazing tips that are going to help everyone make beautiful, intentional, plant-filled spaces. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Cara. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening. And if you've got more episodes to catch up on, binge on. Don't let me stop you. But if you've got a second, you should come say hi on Insta at MakeSpacePod. And if you're an overachiever, you can also leave a review and I'll love you forever. If you're new here, hit that follow button to officially become a DIY queen and join all the amazing humans tuning in every week.